Hi, my name's Jonathan Hicks. I'm back at the Dice Cup, and this evening I'm joined by Steve,
Kareem, Mark,
Amy.
and we've just finished playing Just One, which is a word game essentially. Now, when it's your turn, you take one of these cards, and on the other side of the card there are 5 different words. So I take one of these cards and I put it on my little display here so that everyone else can see it, but I can't, and I pick a number. And so I'm going to say 3. So I don't know what it is, but then everyone else gets a pen and kind of writes on the other side of that board a word. And essentially they're trying to get me to say the word on the card. The problem is, if any of them write the same word as each other, so they all kind of compare their words now, are any of them the same?
No.
Okay, if any of them were the same, those words will be eliminated, and I'd only see what's left. So in this case, none of them the same, that's great. So they turn them around, and we look at the words. We've got game, Mayfair, business, Marlborough. Oh, okay, now both of those are from Monopoly, which is a game. Business, I guess that's kind of Monopoly. I'm going to guess Monopoly.
Correct.
And then we have a look, and yes, it was Monopoly, that's great. But you can imagine if, let's say, 2 people, instead of writing Marlborough, if they'd both written Mayfair, and you'd eliminated them, you'd have game and business, and that'd be all you'd have to go on. There's quite a few games that are connected with business. It might not be a board game, that'd be really hard. So you can see it becomes very difficult if any of them are eliminated. And then essentially it's a co-op game, so you have a whole pile of these in the middle. 13, I think, is that right, Steve? You've got to get through. If you get it right, then it goes on the kind of win pile. But if you get it wrong, it goes on the lose pile. And not only that, but you lose another one of these. Effectively, you're trying to get as many of these 13 right as you can, but you lose an extra one if you get it wrong. You can pass, in which case you don't get it, but then you don't lose the extra one. So you're just trying to get as many of the 13 as possible. If you get a full 13, I guess you win the game. What do we think?
It's really interesting because you are cooperating with people without being able to talk to them. You kind of need to have Captain Obvious. You need the person who just goes, oh yeah, it's this. For chips, they put fries or something. Because if everyone's doing that, they just eliminate all the guesses. It's really hard to guess. If you get that clash, it's really hard to guess. At one point we had 2 clashes. So you're striving to be less obvious. But if everyone's being less obvious, you can get some really difficult guesses. You can get a host of 4 words where everyone's just kind of really, really wide of the mark, hoping that the other words kind of help them out, and they don't. So it's unusual, and you obviously don't want to have that agreement of who is Mr. Obvious, but sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and be that person. It's unique.
Kareem?
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I was a bit hit and miss with my clue giving, mostly miss, I feel. But I did really enjoy it. I spent most of the time trying to be as obscure as possible because I thought other people would be. I couldn't bring myself to come up with the obvious clue. But like Steve says, sometimes you have to be that guy, to be the one who thinks, all right, I think everyone else is going to be less obvious. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. But yeah, you do need to know the person who you're. Same as all of these type of word games where you're trying to get people to link up. You need to know the person you're giving the clue to. You need to know the tone of the clue that you're giving, because you could give a really obscure clue that could be like super specific to that thing, and the person would get it straight away, but then someone else could literally have no idea what they're talking about. So it's making that balance, and I think it's quite a nice game.
Okay. Mark?
Yeah, it was fun. I think in the current Mario of word games, it's quite nice and refreshing to play one that's cooperative, because most of them are all competitive at the moment. I mean, there's kind of it's a different sort of different way of thinking. It's fun. It worked well. It's quick. It's really easy to teach. I can see it going down pretty well with families because you can teach the rules in 30 seconds. Yeah, and it works well.
Amy?
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Kareem in the fact that you really do sometimes need to know your audience, but if you don't, I don't think it would be a massive problem. I think you could probably adjust your word sort of choices to that. And it has a nice mechanic in that if you are playing with children, you can skip a clue if they don't understand what it means. You can go on to the next one, so that really does make it appropriate for families, I think so.
Rating?
I'd give it a solid 8.
Okay.
I'll
Mark?
give it 6.5.
I'll give it 7.
I'll give it 7, mainly because there's a loose win condition, but you can't actually win the game. You're never going to get 13, and it feels more like an activity.
Okay. I really enjoyed it. It does feel a bit like an activity, Steve says, but it gives you things to think about, but it's very quick, and you're invested. Even whether it's your turn or someone else's turn, you still feel like you're taking part. So I thought it was a great package. As Mark says, really great for the family, great to play at Christmas. It's certainly one that I'm looking forward to playing with my family. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. All right, thanks for watching. That was Just One.